National 5 Maths, Practice Paper E, Paper 1. In the first question, we're asked to find out what 2 1/3 plus 5/6 of 1 2/5 is. Now, of, when we're talking about fractions like this, means multiply, so we've got to work out this bit first. So we've got to do 5/6 times 1 2/5. Now, 1 2/5 can be written as, well, 1 is 5/5, 5/5, and 2/5 is 7/5. So we get 5 7s are 35 over 6 5s are 30, and that simplifies to 7/6. You could have just cancelled the 5 and the 5 out there, giving you the 7/6. We've then got to add 2 and 1/3. So I'm just going to ignore the 2 just now. I'm going to come back to that in just a minute. So I'm going to do 1/3 plus my answer here. So it's 1/3 plus 7/6. Now the denominators are different, so I need to make this denominator the same as this one. So I'm going to times that by 2 on the numerator and the denominator, giving me 2/6 plus 7/6, and that makes 9/6. That simplifies to 3/2. And that is 1.5, because 2 goes into 3 once, with 1 left over. Now that's not my final answer. Remember, I've got to think about this extra 2 that I put to one side. So it's 2 plus 1.5. And that is equal to 3 1/2. Okay, for question 2, we've got to multiply out the brackets and collect any like terms. Now that plus 3x is outside the brackets. That doesn't need to get multiplied by anything. We can multiply the brackets and then tidy that bit up afterwards. So we've got 4x times x gives us 4x squared. 4x times -5, that's going to be -20x. 2 times x is 2x. And 2 times -5 is -10. Plus 3x, which hasn't been multiplied by anything. So collecting like terms, you've got 4x squared, no other squared terms there. -20 plus 2 is -18 or -18. Plus 3, -15. And then -10. In question 3, we've got to find the gradient of the line and write down its equations. Well, these are all just coordinates. So that's just the coordinate 1, 4. That would be 2, 2, 3, 0, 4, -2, and so on. So I'm going to call that one x1, y1, x2, and y2, because the gradient formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So it's going to be -2 take away 4 over 4 take away 1, which is -6 over 3, or just -2. So the gradient of our line is -2. Now I need to pick any one of these coordinates. I'm just going to stick with the first one, call that a and b, and use the formula y minus b equals m brackets x minus a. So it's going to be y minus 4 equals gradient is -2, x minus a, which is 1. Multiplying out that bracket gives us y minus 4 equals -2x plus 2, because you've got the -2 times -1 gives you plus 2. And then going to add 4 to both sides to make y the subject. And there's the equation of a line, y equals -2x plus 6. Next, we have to solve an equation that's got a fraction in it. Now, the easiest thing to do here is to subtract 9 from both sides. So it's 2 over x is equal to 7. Multiply both sides by x, and then divide both sides by 7. Now, you might think you've got that wrong because it's not a nice answer. It's a fraction, but that doesn't mean you're wrong. Sometimes that's what your answers are. And for number 5, we've got to show that x is equal to 1 plus or minus √3, all divided by 2. So you're given this trinomial here, and we've got to show that it's equal to this. Now you can solve it using the quadratic equation, but because we don't have a calculator, we can't get a decimal answer, but that doesn't mean that you can't work it out and stop at this point here. So if you remember, your quadratic equation is x equals -b plus or minus √b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And that's given to you in the formula sheet, remember? So a equals 2, b equals -2, and c equals -1. So subbing all the numbers in, it's -b plus or minus √b squared minus 4 times a times c, square root all of that lot, all divided by 2a. So negative gives you the +2, plus or minus -2 squared is 4. -4 times 2 is -8. -8 times -1 is +8. All divided by 4. Now that gives us 2 plus or minus root 12 all divided by 4. Now that's not what we've got here. So we've got to simplify this down. So what we can say is root 12 is root 4 root 3. All divided by 4. So that is 2 plus or minus, well the square root of 4 is 2. So these both have a common factor of 2. So I could divide both of these by 2, and that's in the 2 times table, so I can divide all of these three things here by 2. So it gives me 1 plus or minus 1 root 3, so I'm just going to write root 3 over, and then 4 divided by 2 is just 2. And that gets what we're after here.